When most people think about Japan's international partnerships, they picture the United States, Europe, or high-tech neighbors like South Korea. But in 2025, a quieter, more surprising story is unfolding. Japan is placing some of its biggest bets, economically, militarily, and strategically, not in Washington or Beijing, but in Manila. Why? Why is Japan suddenly turning so much of its attention to the Philippines? And what does this mean for Asia's future? Let's dig deep. First, let's talk history. Japan and the Philippines share a complex past. World War II left scars that lasted for generations. But over the decades, something remarkable happened. The two nations not only reconciled, they grew closer. Japan became one of the Philippines' biggest donors of development aid. Japanese companies invested heavily in factories, infrastructure, and jobs, and little by little, trust was rebuilt. By the 2000s, Japan was no longer seen as an enemy, it was seen as a partner, and in 2025, that partnership is being taken to a whole new level. The first reason is security. The South China Sea has become one of the tensest flashpoints in the world. China's growing assertiveness has alarmed many of its neighbors, and Japan knows that what happens in those waters will affect its own survival. Japan is a maritime nation. Almost all of its energy imports, food shipments, and raw materials pass through the same waters that surround the Philippines. If China were to dominate that sea, Japan's lifeline could be choked. This is why Tokyo is stepping up. In recent years, Japan has signed defense cooperation agreements with the Philippines, sending patrol ships, radar systems, and even offering military training. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida himself has made it clear. Supporting the Philippines is not just charity, it's self-preservation. A strong Philippines means a safer Japan. The second reason is economics. The Philippines is one of the fastest-growing economies in Southeast Asia. With a young population, a thriving outsourcing industry, and a growing middle class, it offers something Japan desperately needs: energy, labor, and opportunity. Japan faces an aging population and shrinking workforce. The Philippines, on the other hand, has millions of young English-speaking workers ready to power the future. This is why Japanese companies are moving into the Philippines in record numbers. From manufacturing to renewable energy, from high-tech services to agriculture, and the Philippines is welcoming it. Not only does it bring jobs and investment, but it also deepens ties with one of Asia's most advanced economies. But there's also a third layer: cultural trust. Filipinos and Japanese have developed a quiet respect for each other. Japanese tourists love the Philippines' beaches and warm hospitality. Filipinos admire Japan's discipline, innovation, and resilience. And this trust matters, especially in a world where alliances are tested by politics and power struggles. Unlike other partnerships built on temporary convenience, the Japan-Philippines relationship feels rooted in something deeper: shared values of peace, stability, and respect. Now let's talk about 2025. Why this year? Because, global dynamics are shifting fast. The United States is reinforcing its alliance network in Asia. China is pushing harder than ever in the South China Sea and East China Sea, and Japan knows it cannot stand alone. That's why Tokyo is betting big. With billions in new investments, stronger military cooperation, and a louder diplomatic voice supporting Manila's rights in contested waters. Just recently, Japanese officials openly declared that any attack on the Philippines could also be seen as a threat to Japan's own security. That's not just rhetoric. That's a clear signal to the world that Japan is willing to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Philippines. But this isn't just about geopolitics. It's also about people. Every year, thousands of Filipinos move to Japan as caregivers, engineers, or students. And they're not just filling gaps. They're building bridges. In turn, Japanese aid continues to support Philippine communities with roads, railways, and disaster preparedness. After every typhoon, Japan is often one of the first countries to send help. These human connections are why this partnership feels real, not just strategic. So, what does it mean when we say Japan is betting everything on the Philippines? It means Japan sees the Philippines as its anchor in Southeast Asia. It means Manila is no longer just a partner but a pillar of Tokyo's survival strategy. And it means that in the years to come, both nations will rise or fall together. Of course, challenges remain. China is watching closely. The balance of power in Asia is fragile. And within the Philippines, debates continue about how much to lean on allies like Japan and the United States. But one thing is clear, Japan's choice is deliberate. Out of all the countries in Asia, it chose to double down on the Philippines. Not just because of location, not just because of trade, but because the Philippines has something rare in the world today: resilience, youth, and a spirit of trust that Japan believes in. In the end, this isn't just Japan betting on the Philippines. It's Asia betting on cooperation over conflict. It's people choosing trust over fear. And it's proof that even nations with painful histories can build a future together. So when you hear that Japan is betting everything on the Philippines in 2025, remember, it's not just politics, it's about survival, opportunity, and respect. And maybe, just maybe, it's about showing the world that the future of Asia runs through Manila and Tokyo, side by side.